Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. How are you today? I hope that you are still okay today. It's really nice to see you again here online. Well, last week I explained to you the notions of the presentations. I hope that you still remember. And I particularly also assigned you to learn the opening of the presentation and to practice to try out the opening. Yeah. Okay. And I have a question for you. Were you able to do it? I believe that you could do it well. Yeah. It's not difficult for you, I think. Yeah. Well, as usual, at the beginning of my teaching, I usually review what we did before, what you learned previously, yeah, and then we are going to go to today's lesson, that's planning and getting started the presentation. Now, if it is possible that we can go on to images and impact, yeah, for your presentation. Okay, everyone, let's go to the next slide. This is the structure of the presentation. Later on, I want to know whether you're able to do it or not. Yeah, okay, so we'll skip it. Then we'll go to the next. Okay, so this is what I explained to you last week. Uh, Notions, there were five. Well, but I'd like to give you one more or two more this time. See? Well, we learned that a presentation event is a learning event for the audience, not for the presenter, just like your answer. Why? Because when you are giving a presentation in a presentation event, in a seminar or conference, for example, audience come to you because they want to learn from you. They want to listen to you. They think that you know everything. Yeah. Okay, you know much more than the audience. Okay. Well, so once again, it is not a learning event for you. Then presenting is not reading. It is different. Yeah. Reading is static and presenting is dynamic. Yeah. When you are reading, you stand still. When you are presenting, you have to be dynamic. You have to move about here and there, come closer to the audience. Yeah, and then reading involves difficult vocabulary, difficult syntax, yeah, of the language, makes difficult for the audience to understand. Presenting deals with easy language, easy syntax, easy vocabulary. Yeah, well, because the language of the presentation has to be understood by everyone. Yeah, by all the audience. Yeah, so you have to make it easier. So when you find difficult vocabulary that you have to paraphrase, you say in other words, yeah. Then when you come up with the uh, terminology, yeah, which is difficult that you have to explain it. Then when it is difficult syntax, you have to clarify it, and so on and so on and so forth. Okay. Uh, then presenting is dynamic. Yeah, you have to maintain eye contact. You have to move here and there, come closer to the audience. Yeah. Next one. Okay, this is another important notions of the presentations. Yeah. So as I told you that you have to maintain eye contact with the audience because no eye contact, no ear contact. Well, uh, without eye contact, then maybe the audience seem to be disinterested. Yeah, well, seems to be neglected, and maybe they will fall asleep or uh, they will do something else. Yeah, they will not pay attention to you. Then the presenter is a slave and the audience is a king. Yeah. Well, it's clear why, because a presenter is someone who has to satisfy the audience. Yeah. As a presenter, you have to give the best service for your king or queen. Mhm. Okay. So you have to make any events, yeah, to make them satisfied. Okay. Next one. Audience has 120 seconds to keep or to leave. Well, so the very beginning of your presentation is the time for the presenter to grab the attention of the audience. Yeah. When you miss this part, then you'll miss the whole presentation. So you have to make sure you have to find a way how to keep the audience. There are actually two ways on how to keep the audience listen to you, lend their ears and their eyes to listen and to pay attention to you. The first one is because the presentation is useful for you. I'm sorry, the presentation is useful for them, for the audience. So if it is not useful, why they have to come to you? They have to lend their ears and their eyes to pay attention to your presentation. Why? It's a waste of time. Yeah. But if they know that the presentation is useful, it's okay for them. Yeah. To lend their ears and eyes to pay attention to your presentation. The purpose is the promise, and then if it and because this is a promise that you have to keep the promise at the end of the presentation, that you have to ask the audience whether you have achieved the promise or not. Okay. Then yeah, the second one is to make the audience keep, yeah, the presentation is by a good technique, by a good delivery. Yeah. Okay, you have to learn how to do. You have to learn how to do it. Yes, so the audience do not get bored. Yeah, to your presentation and to you. Okay, before studying further the purpose of the presentation and the techniques how to do it. So let's listen to the suggestion from expert, uh, how we are going to prepare the presentation. Yeah, and probably have your own opinion about this. Yeah, you see there are 8 pictures showing the stages of the presentation, and you're going to listen to the expert. Okay, then please identify which picture shows the first stage, which picture shows the second stage, and so on and so on and so forth. Okay, uh, let's listen. Yeah.
Number the pictures in your book in the order in which they are mentioned in the recording. Now, let's think about the preparation of the presentation. What do you have to do to prepare it?
The most important thing is to know about the audience. Find out about
Yes, but you need to make sure about your objectives first. So decide on the objectives, what you want the talk to achieve.
Yes, But to do that, you need to know about the audience, their knowledge, what they want to know, everything like that.
Yes, all that's true. So, audience and objective.
Yeah.
That's right. Then the third thing is you have to sort out the content, collect information, organize it, decide on the structure.
Yes, get a good structure. I agree. Then once the structure is okay, you need visuals, any graphs, and that sort of thing.
Yes, the visual support.
Then, well, you could write it all out. At least the introduction, just to practice it. Some people write out everything, some don't. It depends.
Yes, I think that's a good point. But practice is really very important. A key part of the preparation is to practice it, to give the presentation practice. And so you could do it just from notes. Then what else?
Check all the language, keep it simple, make sure that there's no mistakes on the visuals, spelling and all that.
And I think you should check that the room is okay and the equipment. Yeah, imagine no slide projector or...
the OHP's got no bulb in it.
Okay. Well, so you have known the stages, yeah? The first one is here. Yeah, knowing the audience. Well, this is the most important stage giving a presentation, so you have to know the audience. Why? Because uh, different group of audience will have different expectation. Yeah, so the purpose is different. Then different group of audience will implicate different language. Yeah, different language. Yeah, the level of sophistication of the language will be different, and so on and so forth. So the first thing that you have to know is knowing the audience. Yeah, and next one is the aim or the purpose of your presentations. Yeah. So after knowing the audience, then you have to decide the purpose of the presentation. Yeah, and then you have to say it to the audience later in the presentation. And the third one is the structure. Yeah. So a presentation has to be well structured. So it has to be clear what's at the beginning, what's in the body of the presentation, what's in the end, the wrap up of the conclusions of the presentation. And then next one is visuals, yeah, to make the presentation clear, easy to understand. So you should include the visuals. Yeah. We are lucky because it's not difficult, yeah, to include the visuals, yeah, very easy, I think. Now, next one is you have to write, yeah, you have to write. You don't have to write the whole things, yeah, but you have to write uh, important points, yeah, so you'll not miss the points to present. Yeah. Okay, and the next one is you have to practice. You have to rehearse the presentation. Yeah, even though you are professional one, but you have to make sure that you are ready. You know that practice makes perfect. Next one is you have to make sure. Yeah, you have to make sure that you have the correct terminologies. Yeah, you have correct spelling. Yeah, the pronunciations you have to check in the dictionary, for example, because if you mispronounce something, if you misspell something, and so on and so forth, it seems that you are not professional. Yeah. Okay. Next one, or the last one, yeah, will be about the room and facilities. So you have to make sure before you give the presentation, then you have to check, yeah, the room, yeah, whether it's big or not, yeah, the facilities, yeah, what facilities there are in the room. Yeah, you can imagine, yeah, you have prepared all the things. You have prepared, for example, sophisticated. Okay, everyone. What about making the structure in the introduction. Yeah, what we have to say in introductions. There are a lot of things actually, but the most important thing to say in the introduction is the first one is, of course, you have to greet the audience. Yeah, you have to greet the audience. It is very good then when you include the local elements, yeah, in into your introduction, especially at the beginning. For example, if it is the first time you are in Bandung, you are from England, and then you learn the local language, you have to greet people like saying Wilujeng Enjing, Kumaha Damang, and so on and so forth. It will be surprising for the audience, yeah. Well, and the audience will be really interested to you. And then the second is, of course, you have to compliment. You have to say good things about the city. For example, if it is the first time you come to the city, yeah, like when it's the first time you are in Bandung, then you can say, okay, so this is the first day, the first time in my life that I'm in Bandung. Yeah, well, and I think I'm really amazed. Yeah, so Bandung was so really beautiful. Uh, I can see the view very clearly. It's really beautiful. Hopefully, I can stay longer. Okay, then after that, you have to uh, give the background. Yeah, you have to give the background. The background means why the audience need to listen to you. Yeah, need to pay attention to you. For example, in the previous structure, you still remember the new methods of qualification. Probably at the beginning, you can say like this: ladies and gentlemen, think that you come to the right place because you have the same problem. You want to curlify your hair. Well, and probably have tried it several times, but it has never worked well. So you come to the right place. Today, you can do it. You'll be able to do it after the presentation because I'll give you the technique how to do it, how to curlify your hair. Then at the end of the presentation, when you come home, you can try out this technique. Okay, then you it's a must for you also to tell the audience the purpose of the presentation. Don't forget, it may not too long, it may not too short. Why too short is not interesting? Too long is boring. Yeah. Okay. So the maximum is 12 words. The minimum is 8 words. So between 8 and 12 words. So that's enough. That's interesting for the audience. Yeah. Okay. And then stating the purpose is a must. Why? Because it is a promise. It is a way to make your audience listen to you. Okay. Let me give you example. After what I said, after uh, greeting the audience, and then I tell the background, yeah, and then after that, I have to state the purpose of the presentation. Probably I'll say, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of my presentation today is to give you the new technique of curlification. Okay, so 12 words from give you new technique of curlification. Yeah, seven actually. Yeah, well, you can add one. Yeah. Okay, so 8 words. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of the presentation today is to share new technique of Hair curlification. 8 words. That's enough. And then after that, you can add additional information that can strengthen your purpose. So at the end of the presentation, when you come home, you can try out the technique of the codification. Okay, then uh, after stating the purpose, that you can go on with stating the structure, yeah, of the presentation. You can select this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to divide the presentation into 3 parts. The presentation will take about 45 minutes, 20 minutes for presenting, and 25 minutes for question and answer. 3 parts of the presentation. The first one is the definition of qualification. It may take about 5 minutes, and then the second one is show you the techniques of qualification. It will take about 15 minutes, and then the third one, well, I will conclude. I will give you the wrap up of the technique. It will take about 5 minutes. Okay, that's the structure. After the structure, you can go on to the first part of the body of the presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we can begin with the first part of the presentation, the definition. Or before starting your first part of the body, you can tell the audience not to interrupt. Yeah, you have to say it politely. Yeah, if you think that the presentation should not be interrupted, but in a business presentation, usually the interruption is encouraged. Okay, this time you are going to give examples of the opening of the presentation, but well, the opening may be good or not. Yeah, so the first thing to do is to listen and please answer the questions. Yeah, based on what you have listened. Is it a good introduction or not? And then please tell me the reason why. And the second or the third, yeah, label the structure. Yeah, the structure is here. Label the structure. This is introduction. And what is here? What is here? And what is here? Okay, are you ready? Yeah.
Listen to the beginning of a presentation. Is it a good introduction? And can you label its structure?
Thank you for coming today. As you know, I want to talk about the marketing plans. Brand identity is a key issue, and what it means is how we are seen by our customers, and how our products are recognised, and what our customers think of us as a company. And I should also say what they think of our products and the name, what telco means for them. And advertising is part of it, of course, though not something I'm going to talk about now, except to say that as for brand image, it's important in that area too, advertising that is.
Okay, everyone, what do you think? Let's see another example. Yeah, again, you're going to listen to the opening of the presentation. Then after that you can tell me whether it is a good introduction or not. If it is good, why it's not, why not? and then you can label the structure. Yeah, the structure here. All right. Okay. Now let's listen together.
Okay, thanks. I'm here to talk about the design proposals for the production plant at Taipei. My talk will be in 3 parts, followed by a 30-minute discussion. I'm going to start with the background to each proposal, something about our negotiations with the Taiwanese government. Then, in the second part, I'll go over the main characteristics of each proposal, Proposal 1 and Proposal 2. Then, in the third part, I'll highlight some key considerations we have to bear in mind. Finally, I'll end with an invitation to ask questions or make any comments you like. We'll discuss matters arising from the talk. Okay? So, to begin with, a few words on the history.
Okay, I think you have to listen once again.
Okay, thanks. I'm here to talk about the design proposals for the production plant at Taipei. My talk will be in 3 parts, followed by a 30-minute discussion. I'm going to start with the background to each proposal, something about our negotiations with the Taiwanese government. Then, in the second part, I'll go over the main characteristics of each proposal, Proposal 1 and Proposal 2. Then, in the third part, I'll highlight some key considerations we have to bear in mind. Finally, I'll end with an invitation to ask questions or make any comments you like. We'll discuss matters arising from the talk. Okay? So, to begin with, a few words on the history.
All right. So, here, what's the topic of the presentation? Okay. The topic is the design proposal of new production plant in Taipei. Plant, not plan. Okay. Well, before coming further, then please tell me whether it is a good presentation or is it a good presentation? Why? Yeah, it is a good presentation because it is well struck, it is well structured. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, everyone. These are the elements of the opening. Yeah. Okay. And I think you have to discuss with your partners. Then, what to say in the particular elements here. What to say when you have to greet the audience, when you have to introduce yourself, and so on and so forth. Let me give you example. When you greet the audience, as I told you, it's a good idea that you include the local element, yeah, to give a surprise. What is it? Something surprising to the audience. Yeah. Okay. Greeting your audience. Hi, Bando, Kumahadama. Hi, how are you? Okay, greeting the audience, yeah, with the local elements. It's essential for you to learn 1 or 2 words of the local language. Wilujeng Enjing, Kumahadama, for example, if it is the first time you are in Bandung. And then again that you have to what is it tell something good, yeah, of the city. Well, then to introduce yourself. When you introduce yourself, that you have to include not only the name but also the name of the company and then your position. For example, let me introduce myself. My name is Suharno. I am the purchasing manager of PT Angin Ribut. Okay. So name, yeah, and then the name of the company, and then the position, yeah. Give the title of your talk, yeah. Uh, Today, we'd like to talk about the new techniques of qualification, for example, yeah. Describe the structure of your talk. My talk or my presentation will be divided into three parts. The first is definition. The second is the techniques of qualification. The third one is the wrap up of the presentation. Yeah, and explain that the audience can interrupt if they want. Ladies and gentlemen, if there are something that you don't understand, something you want to ask, please be free to interrupt in the middle of my presentation. It's okay. Okay. And say something about the length of your talk. Yeah. I think it is important for you, yeah, to tell the audience the exact time. Yeah. Okay. For example, like this. Ladies and gentlemen, the presentation will last for about 45 minutes. Yeah, 25 minutes for presenting and then 20 minutes for question and answer. Yeah. Well, sometimes you have assistant, yeah, or someone like an operator to help you to play the video or to describe something that you can tell the audience in the opening also. Well, everyone, my colleague Sham will be showing a video later. Okay, that's easy, isn't it? You have to practice, you have to try them out. So, if you don't practice, it's impossible that you uh, master all of them. Yeah, no. Listen to the model sample from the expert. Yeah. Okay.
Listen to a model introduction based on the prompts in exercise 4. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Arnold Layton. I'm a geophysicist for ELF Aquitaine, with special responsibility for analysing new fields in the North Sea. I'm going to talk about some recent research into new methods of detecting oil in shallow waters. I've divided my talk into 3 parts. First, research that we have done. Then I'll report on some published research from other companies. And finally, I'll talk about what this may mean for our exploration activities. Please interrupt if at any time you have any questions or something is not clear. My talk will last about half an hour. Later, my colleague Jacques Flambert will be showing a video on...
Okay, everyone. Were you able to identify all the elements from greeting the audience until the last one asking the assistants, yeah, to do something for you? Okay. By the way, in the model, okay, everyone, it's a time for you to practice. Have a look at the topic of the presentation. New safety conditions for production staff. You are a training manager probably, and then you have a company meeting, and then you're given a chance to tell all other staff about the new safety conditions, yeah, for the production staff, and then you have to make the introductions. Yes, brief introduction. You can practice with your partner or partners. Okay, after having your own versions, then now listen to the models. Here we go.
Listen to a model introduction based on the notes in your book.
Right. I want to say something about the new safety conditions for production staff. My talk will be in 3 parts. First, I'll tell you about the new protective clothing. Then I'll explain about the training in accident prevention. And the final part of my talk explains changes to working practices. After my talk, I'll be happy to answer any questions, and we can have a discussion about these new proposals.
Okay, everyone. Probably you have a question. Why not greeting the audience? Yeah, and then no uh, opening, just like what I told you, because the opening was done in at the beginning of the meeting, yeah, not in the presentation, yeah. And then also, why no introductions? Yeah, because the training manager is known, yeah, to everybody in the meeting. Yeah, this is a company meeting. Yeah, all the attendees are those known. Now have a look at the presentation structure that I showed you at the beginning of our lesson. Uh, what you have to do is now to practice with your partner again how to make the opening of this presentation. You as the presenter, you are new there. Uh, you are a hairstylist or the expert, and then you give what is it? The presentation in the presentation event or in a conference or workshop. Well, but you are new there, so you have to begin with greeting the audience, introducing yourself, and so on and so forth. For example, you are from what is it, other country, and then it's the first time that you are here in Bandung. Yeah. Okay, everyone. After your own version, now listen to my version that you can compare. Yeah. Hello, Bandung. Wilujeng Anjing, Kumaha, Dama. Oh, it's the first time I'm here in Bandung, and I think that the city is really beautiful. I wish I could stay longer, but I think I still have probably 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon before I return to my own country, so I can have the exploration of the city, at least in the afternoon around my hotel. Okay, well, everyone, I perfectly understand why you come here. I see your hair is straight. Probably that you want to clarify your hair. You want to have a new hairstyle. Well, maybe you have tried it again and again, but it has never worked well. Okay, everyone, don't worry. I think today you come to the right place in the right time. Why? Because I can make your dream come true. Uh, share with you the techniques, how to curlify your hair, and the result of the curlification will last long time. And so at the end of the presentation, when you come home, you can try out my technique. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, so the purpose of the presentation is to share the technique with you how to curlify your hair. Well, I have divided the presentations into 3 parts. The first one, the concepts of qualification, and it will take about 10 minutes, so 5 minutes. And then the techniques of qualification, it will take about 20 minutes. Anyway, it's not easy, yeah? It, it's not difficult, I mean, to share the technique with you. And the last one is how you maintain your curly hair after you've done with the curlification. Well, if you think that you need to ask, you have something that you don't understand or something that you need to clarify soon, then you can uh, raise your hand. Feel free to interrupt me in the middle of the presentation. But if you think that you can wait, then please hold on your question until the end of the presentation when you have question and answer session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with the first part of the presentation, the new concepts of qualification. This is another practice for you. So you work in a company as a research, yeah, and development manager, and then you are given a chance in a company meeting to present your team findings of vaccine, yeah, against coronavirus, and you have to give a presentation to talk about all the things about the new vaccine, and then your company plans to mass produce the vaccine and then sell the product worldwide. Okay, practice with your friends. And this is also another practice. Yeah, you work in a company. Yeah, well, you give this presentation as what is it in a meeting. So your company has a meeting to talk about the strategy for your company to survive. Yeah, amidst the pandemic of coronavirus. Yeah. So look at the structure of the presentation and please practice with your partner. Okay, everyone, what do you think? Hmm. Are you satisfied? Are you able to give a very good opening for your presentation? I believe that you can do it. Yeah. Well, no, I have some other questions for you. The first is in a question and answer session. Hmm. Okay, then which one is better for you to collect the three questions or four questions and then you answer the questions all one by one, or one question is answered uh, immediately? Which one is better? And why do you think the first one is better than the second one, or the other way around? The second one is better than the first one. Okay, so it's better for you to answer the questions right away. Yeah. Why? Because it has to do with the actuality. Yeah. Still hot, you know. So it's better for you not to collect the questions and answer one by one, but when there's a questions and then you have to answer right away. Or in a business presentation, yeah, you have to encourage the interruption. It's okay in the middle of the presentation. Yeah. Okay. So when you are giving a presentation and somebody interrupt you, then you have to explain right away. Okay. And you have to be just. Yeah. Okay. You have to pay attention to uh, what is it? The proportions of the audience. Yeah. For example, if the first question is given to the chance given to the one sitting at the right front of the room. Then the second question has to be the back, yeah, the back one. Yeah. The first one's on the right, the second one on the left, and so on and so forth. The first one is male, and the second one is a female. If there are more female, then the male the audience. So two questions for female, and the second question is for male. So you have to be proper. You have to be proportional. What about if there's a question that you cannot answer? What you have to do? Is it okay to try to answer once again? Oh, yes, that's okay. But if after the second time, well, seems that it's not enough, that you have to stop. You have to say honestly to the audience who ask you questions that he or she can talk about the matter personally after the presentation. Yeah. Okay. Why? Because when you you are the main actor in the presentation, so you belong to everyone in the room. Yeah. You have to be just. You belong to everyone, not only to one, two, or three of the audience. So you have to switch to the next audience to give you questions. Yeah. Okay. Well, well, I think that's all that you have to pay attention. Yeah, at the beginning when you have to give opening. Don't forget, practice makes perfect. Okay, everyone. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.